Good morning and welcome to Better Thyself segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. We always say past is dead. Let's bury the past. Let's not bother with the future because future is yet to be. Live, live in the living present. And yet, we are all obsessed, all of us, by the memory of the past, by the nostalgia, and by the mirage of the future which is uncertain. Believe it or not, most of us are habitual in defending our past as a sacred event of life, even though it's not important. And usually destiny is given all the credit for everything that had happened. Well, this was bound to be, this was destined, this is what the God wanted, and all that talk of the concept of destiny, which might be good, but is good only until it gets applied to our past. Because what else, even if it was destined, it happened and it's over. It's better to bury it fathoms deep so that it doesn't come to haunt us, good or bad. However, an emphasized reliance on this philosophy can be potentially disastrous. If you want to be a better person, a better performer, a better human being, then you have got to understand that the past is dead. It's like the dead weeds in your lawn which has to be removed. And if you don't do that, it will choke the fresh grass. The fresh plants would be choked by the weeds, and you will be left with a desolate garden and not with a thing of beauty which can be enjoyed forever. The moment one relies on the secret outcomes of the so-called destiny, what are the chances? Chances are that the complacency, sense of complacency, well, since it was destined to happen, it will happen even now. And then there is an inertia of action. Well, things would happen. I can't do much, so why should I bother? And that paralyzes you mentally, if not physically. And mental paralysis is worse than the physical one. The idea of the destiny definitely gives you relief from pain. Since it's not in your control, so why be bothered? This is somebody else, some higher deity, some outside agency. It does allow you, as an individual, to accept something which is not in your control and it seeps into self-consciousness. But then, is this not just like living on cannabis or an opiate? The moment you let the mode of justifying your past, you enter into that mode and you can believe that your day of achievement is over. The moment you do that, the chances are that you might not be learning from it. If you have learned, you would have learned where you faltered and taken corrective action so that you don't falter again. But if you still think that the destiny caused it to happen in the past and it will happen in the future as well, that is when you become a robot. Think about it. It's quite possible that you are just willingly, knowingly, willfully ignoring your past and its mistakes. I've come across many people, and these people vehemently argue to justify their destiny. Such people are rarely keen to retrospect in the right spirit. The sense of retrospection is always bound with a sense of introspection. You have to analyze the past, find out where you went wrong, and ensure that this does not happen again. But that does not mean live in the past. You have to learn from the past, not live in the past. Future, of course, you should never bother. Have your goal and keep on working for that. Now, the people who always live in the past, as you know, the Persian saying is Pidram Sultan Bhoot. Our ancestors were the kings. What difference does it make? My family traditions are that. Who the hell is bothered about the family traditions? If you are not living them, if you are living them, that's fine. Our ancestors are great. I mean, this is happening nowadays in India a lot. We talk of the past glory, our great architecture, our great art. What are we today? If we will learn why this thing happened, why you lost the glory, and then revive it, that is something positive. But if you just feed yourself on the glory that is past, that has no validity, then it's not applicable. Such people, who live in the past, who just take glorification of the past, are never ready to acknowledge the wrong moves they might have taken, whether as an individual or as a nation. Now, when I talk of you as an individual, the same can be amplified as a community, as a country, as a nation, as a religious group. Fate, destiny is good to apply only for a past recalibration that may not have much to be carried forward. So we have umpteen times come across the quote, past is gone. However, the sea of action between quoting a utopian fact and embodying it in our lives, we forget about that. You must have read about people who could not pass a particular examination and resorted to suicide. It happens very often. The results come out and some young impressionable mind thing, they have failed and they commit suicide. There are many such cases of grown-ups who cannot come out of their past failures. Now, there are two ways. Either you keep on living in the past because of its glory, or you keep living in the past because you cannot come out of the morass, the sadness, the dejection, the pool of that in which you are immersed. And overindulgence in your past can blind you from a tremendous prospective present and future. The present, in fact, is a ground for getting future ready. And one update that we can all bring to our life today and every day is to start living in your present. Well, that's easier said than done. Let me tell you very frankly, no individual, practically no, is ever able to separate the past from the present. Never. It's very rare people who do it. But those who do it are really the people who are different. For majority of the people, the past is a cage that does not allow the sunshine of today to peep in. What to talk of tomorrow? Tomorrow may be very bright, but still far distant. So you have got to break that cage, that cell. You have to come out of that jail of the past. Similarly, you have got to ensure that you are not lost in the desert of the future, because that's indeterminate. You have to do it. Now, how to do it? The best way to come out is to refuse your mind to accept the past. It has to be it has to be willful action, deliberate action. You must stop relishing the delicacies of the past and the failures of the past. Both. From the failures you learn, and from the good things, okay, you enjoyed it, fine, get over. Now, if you want to create something new, if you want to revitalize your life, with a lot of hope, with a lot of energy, then what you do is diffuse the impact of your past experience. And let me tell you, it's not going to happen all of a sudden. So the process of diffusing has to be a second nature ingrained. And today if you want to start it, say, okay, this was, rationalize it. This was when I was a child, this was when I was a young man, I was a teenager, I was an adult, and this was when I started my career, like that, Make it into groups and start forgetting them. Have you seen? In some families, some family members cannot breathe even freely in their presence in many households. Every day the parent, the sibling, the relations remind, you did this thing in the past. So what? So every incident today is deemed to be an offshoot of something unfruitful from the past. You can't do it. You have never done it, so how can you do it? So that sort of a thing you have got to revolt against. And I'm calling on you to rebel. Because unless you rebel against the constraints, you will never be able to get rid of the chains that are binding you. So, you have to walk into the next moment without any negative vibration of the past. And the tragedy happens when the people get lost in the morbid extrapolations. Now, imagine someone screams abuse to you on the phone. What happens next? You are hearing a phone and somebody abuses you. You become anxious. You become angry. You become nervous. And you are very uncomfortable. It will become challenging to you to discuss it, and you can't focus on the work or the work in hand for the next few seconds, a few minutes, a few hours, depending on, visualize that somebody has misbehaved with you on the phone. A couple of months have passed since the incident. Would you still have the same heat of that filthy phone call? No. Because if you yes, you are still having the same feeling of anger, same feeling of being uncomfortable, then you have not learned to live in the present. So ideal situation is to become more potent than your emotional upheaval and have the ability to absorb your anxieties, absorb them. One more villain in this village of the past is the human ego. As I said, Putram Sultan Wood, our ancestors, that's the ego. And sometimes it becomes hugely inflated and unreasonably allows or disallows a person to agree or accept mistakes. I recently saw a web series where the boss, who sounded absolutely ruthless one day, turned out to be a very caring and compassionate person. Then I was reminded of my own way. I was deemed to be a brutal man, careful man. One day in my factory, a lady got bitten by a snake. And I immediately saw to it that without consideration of the money, she should be given the best treatment, and she survived. In the meantime, I didn't stop her salary. As I know, she'd be paid, whatever may happen. So then the whole perception changed. Had my employees locked their own opinion on one day experience, then you can see how much difference it will make. So make peace with your past. Bury it. Rest in peace. R.I.P. And the only way to let the flowers bloom is present. If you are feeling sad and disheartened, give yourself a chance. Cut the past. Relax. Think about the future and act in the present. Introspect. You may realize that you were under illusion, that you were under some false hopes, you were under unrealistic fantasies, born out of your being unworthy, which is wrong. Now, don't forget, time is a vector that moves dot by dot, moment by moment, second by second. It can only travel in one direction, forward. It can never go back. It's unidirectional vector movement. So if you miss one vector, one dot, you have missed a lot. The future must always be attributed to the power of creation. And the power of creation is now. It must be your core human value that the future brings all possibilities till it converts into the past. So every vector moment you travel, the thing is over. So you have to make all efforts to embrace our now, this second, this moment. I think I told you once about my experience with a lady, professor from Toronto University. She was my employee at that time. And we had to go and train IAS officers in Bangalore. There was a training period program was for a week. After 1 week I had to go to Delhi for another work and she was to come back to Toronto. So 1 week we interacted with each other. We'll discuss what's to be done today, what's to be done tomorrow, where we have faltered and learned and do something. And the last day, after the valedictory event, we were going to the airport. I just started discussing it and I was lost in my few thoughts about the daily. She said, Dr. Lamba, what's happened? I said, look here, Pat, that thing is over. For me, it's dead and gone and buried. But I said, that was a great experience. And you have learned something how to do it, something new for you. But then just learn from it. Don't try to impose on that. Don't let it impede your present. Don't let it obstruct your future. That's what you have got to do. If you want to be a better person, forget the past. Take care of the future, but live in the present. As I said, let the flower of joy bloom in the present, and that way lies happiness. Thank you.